Julie, why did you use the Alice Walker story as the basis for your film?
Well, I was reading an anthology that she had called Women in Love and Trouble, and this particular story about a black nun in Africa, shrouded in whiteness and working as a tool of the missionaries, but leading a very austere, barren, tormented life. It was a very unique story, and it had a very special quality about it. And I wanted to see this particular nun come to life. I wanted to see her on the screen. I wanted to visualize her conflict and the struggle that she was going through.
I had never heard of a story like this one before either. And I read some of Alice Walker's works, but I'd never, read that actual story. One thing that I really found, really interesting about this character was she was dealing with a very contradictory situation, and it was like she knew what she was doing was wrong, but she wouldn't, leave it.
Yeah, she says in the end that she was going to be among the lying ones to lead her primitive village to civilization, and she knew she was going in the wrong. She knew she was not telling the truth, but she believed that that was the long-term good thing or progressive way to act or be, and so she goes along with it, and she becomes a part of that whole mechanism to change the society. And it was just very interesting because she doesn't love her God that she says that she did marry. She calls herself his wife, but she doesn't love him, and she continues to go on in this direction for the future of her people, she believes.
Do you think that elements of that story have a carryover into, let's say, contemporary black life in this country?
Yes, I do, because there are so many people, black people, and not just black, but minority people, who want to fit in and belong to the middle class or upper class of the mainstream of this society. And they put on the costumes of, just like she adorned this costume, this white gown that she wore all the time. And they try to be a part of the larger society when really they're very uncomfortable and unhappy in their lives.
And then the whole thing about changing and making civilized isn't even, it has no validity. It's only changing to a Western way, not necessarily civilizing a group of people, because they are civilized within the context of their culture.
Yes, because she does say it will bring death to imaginative people. Well, it will destroy that society, but they'll be technologically better off. But the primitive, imaginative, creativeness in that society will be gone.
As a third world filmmaker and as someone who's been dealing with films, let's say before the UCLA experience, do you feel as though what you have to say in your films will continue to be different from, let's say, other filmmakers, other non-third world filmmakers?
Of course. That's the reason I'm making these films and will be making films. What we have to say is so personal and so very different that there's no way that anyone else can say it, and they can't say it for us. And when they do, it's more of an external statement made about us or about our condition. But when we say it, it's very personal, and it's very different, I believe.
Going back to the experience as a student here in this particular academic setting, you were experienced before you came here. You had gone to school in New York, and you had made professional film before you had ever attended this university. The system of teaching or learning in this situation, has it helped you along or moved you to a space of even more independence than what you had before you got here?
Well, being at UCLA, you're very free to do what you want to do, and you don't have someone standing over you, censoring your scripts or saying this can be done or this cannot be done. And in that sense, it's been very good to stretch out It's a little, I think I would like a little more concern, though, by your advisors or our advisors. But I did look forward to coming to UCLA to using their facilities, because it's very hard as an independent filmmaker to attempt and bring to completion an independent film without the sound stages and the equipment and so on.
How do you foresee yourself tackling the situation once you've moved beyond UCLA?
But hopefully we'll be able to acquire more money to do these films, and that will tackle that problem. It's really about money more than anything else.
The project that you're working on currently, I only know a little bit about it, and that it is about another woman who's also striving to come to grips with her situation, let's say more than the woman in the diary is. You know, could you sort of elaborate on what she's about and how that story evolved?
Well, it's a period piece that takes place in the 1940s, and it's about a black woman who's a singer. However, she's never seen on camera. She sings, she does playback for musical productions of that time and place, and with a surprise ending.
So then these projects that you've been doing so far are pretty much centered around a woman's situation?
Yes, and they will be for a while. I'd like to do a number of short subjects and maybe feature on unique situations that black women are in.
Fine, thank you.